Alright, what's going on everybody? My name is Juby Scott and welcome back to another Space Marine 2 patch update video. Patch 9.0 is finally here for all of us to enjoy. Now, just a reminder that this patch is a quality of life patch only. There is currently no new content in the game at this moment, well, to a degree. And we'll go into detail on that very shortly. But before we get started with that, thank you guys so much for the support lately. It's been a blast. And if you enjoyed this video, why don't you go ahead and subscribe today. We're trying to reach 1,000 subs by the end of the year this year, and we're getting close. So if you want to help me on that journey, that would be very, very helpful. Also, if you're interested, we do have a membership on the Juby Scott channel now. If you would like to become a member and get access to exclusive content, please go ahead and check out the link in the description below. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. First thing we want to talk about today is that there is a community event going on right now. There is an experience boost in Siege mode. Experience rewards for Siege are increased by 50%. This starts on July 29th and runs until August 5th. So if you enjoy the Horde mode, well, congrats. Time to get those classes to max level and enjoy the brand new Siege mode. The first thing up in our update video is going to be the Data Vault update, and this is what I mean by there is technically new content in this update. The Data Vault update includes new ordeals for Siege mode and a new Data Vault reward screen. A new entity Trigon in the Tyranids tab of the Data Vault, so you can collect that minifigure as well. Next thing we have is the gameplay and balancing tweaks. For the gameplay, Assault ground pound damage. I didn't actually notice this, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment below, because I wasn't able to tell. The Chainsword and Power Sword ground pound damage is increased to match the Power Fist and Thunder Hammer's one. The reason for this is that it should add more variety to the Assault class builds, because all the one-shot builds implied having a Thunder Hammer or a Power Fist exclusively. So don't be afraid, ladies and gentlemen, Dimitri, the game director, is watching and listening to our feedbacks on these amazing builds that the community comes up with. So if you're a fan of the Chainsword or the newly added Power Sword to the Assault class, now this should be more adaptable for you in your one-shot build. Next thing we have is the PvE melee weapons. With this update, they want to go ahead and rework the melee weapon revisions. The stats distribution was too complex between tiers and wasn't following the same rule set as firearms, where relic tier weapons are strictly better than artificier ones. This is a massive overhaul, and a lot of popular versions may become less effective than they used to be, and vice versa. We're going to make another pass at this if necessary, but we think we need to do a cleanup here first to move forward. I personally haven't tested this yet, but please go ahead and double check your builds to make sure you have the correct weapon now, and of course leave them feedback as always to see if anything got messed up. PvE melee weapon progression update has also been updated. Progression for all melee weapons have been updated to streamline the experience. Relic versions of the melee weapons will now always have better stats than artificier weapons, and distribution of the stats is going to follow in these specific principles. Balanced weapons have moderate damage and moderate speed. Fence weapons offer the fastest speed but have the lowest damage. Block weapons are the slowest but deliver the highest damage. So for all my fencing mains out there, just make sure you double check all of that. This actually might make me switch to a balanced weapon because I really like the fencing and the gun strike ability of Space Marine 2. But if you enjoy the block weapons, you might be a little bit slower now, but now you are going to be knocking these Tyranids down a notch. PvE weapon, firearm weapons. Their stats show that all the firearms balance is in a good spot right now, and all weapons are absolutely viable. Honestly, an impressive feature for any game of this sort of horde shooters, because that's usually is the biggest problem, is that some weapons just overpower other weapons, and other weapons aren't even worth using at all. Helldivers 2 had this issue in the beginning, and it's gotten slightly better. I'm happy to hear that Space Marine 2 weapons are viable on the highest difficulty, every single one. While some weapon archetypes are more popular and effective than the other ones, with this patch 9.0, they wanted to focus on an actual versions balance. Some of the versions within archetype were underpicked, and thus we would like to do a big pass on those, obviously. But in addition to what we feel like some versions didn't stand out much from their counterparts. Therefore, we want to increase the stat difference to make sure that the choice is more meaningful. So they have gone ahead and looked into, I want to say, every single weapon, and you can see it on the screen right now, has had some type of buff, which is insane to me. All the bolt guns are getting buffed as well, bolt carbines are getting buffed, melta guns are getting buffed, it's everything. So If you had a weapon that you think you would really like and isn't doing what you wanted, absolutely give this patch notes a read to see what they've changed. It looks like a lot of it is just headshot damage and coherent damage, clip sizes, reserve ammo, way too many things to go over right now. But please go ahead and look into these on the patch notes below to see if your favorite weapon got even more buffed. Not only that, they did touch class perk updates as well, so make sure you go ahead and check that out as well. I'll leave a link in the patch notes in the description below this time and let you actually take a look into this. There's too many of these class perk updates to go through, and this video would take forever. One of my favorite updates that I will point out though is that in firearms for PvE only, just be aware of that, is the grenade launcher is getting more grenades for the grenade launcher from pickups from 50% to 75%, and the Inferno pistol PvE only is also getting updated with base damage, etc. Reason for the Inferno pistol update is that they want it to be a crowd control weapon rather than a gunstrike dealer type of weapon, because the heavy bolt pistol already fills that niche. So you might be pulling out the Inferno pistol more often for the hordes now. One of my favorite things that they've added to this update is the combat quality of life, and the reason for that is, have you ever gone against a bunch of bone warriors and they all hit you non-stop one at a time and you literally cannot dodge? Well, they finally added something to help with it. It's not perfect, but it is something. They added an anti-stun lock heavy hit diminishing features. If a player receives multiple heavy hits in a quick succession, the duration of the next heavy hit will be reduced to 80%, and the duration of the third and subsequent heavy hits will be reduced to 60%. This means that if you start getting stun locked, you should actually have a chance to get out of it this time, instead of just sitting there and basically watching your health go away. This is absolutely my biggest complaint of this game of all time, and I'm so happy to see that it is getting adjusted. Also, Assault is now invulnerable during his ground pound landed animation, so there you go. If you're an Assault main lover, which I think is a great class for Siege mode, congrats, you got a bunch of buffs in this, and that's awesome. If you're curious on why they're doing all this, if you don't play the Assault class, it's because they've heard the feedback regarding the Assault class being too weak, and they agree, but to a point. The amount of effort it takes to play it right now doesn't outweigh the benefits, which shouldn't be the case. However, the Assault class can one-shot most of the enemies on the hardest difficulty. It is very strong against Tyranids, yet against Chaos it struggles a lot. So we think that the problem isn't the Assault kit itself, it's the Chaos army composition, and that will be changed soon. The buffs will make Assault better and more fun to play, but the core problem will be addressed in the next content patch. So, Assault mains, don't worry, you're still not done being tweaked. But it sounds like they're going to have to tweak the actual enemy faction to make the Assault class more fun to use against the Chaos. That's interesting. I've never heard of a game doing that, and I'm actually really excited to see what they do. Siege mode. Siege mode is also getting some balance tweaking, which honestly, from what I've read so far, these are fantastic changes, and I can't wait to tell you all about them. Guardian Relic cost is going to be reduced from 300 to 200. Armor kit cost is reduced from 60 to 30. Dreadnought costs reduced from 1500 to 1250. Guardsman costs are all being reduced. Tier 1 is staying the same at 100. Tier 2 is staying the same at 125. Tier 3 is staying the same at 150. Tier 4 is going from 200 down to 175. And Tier 5 is going down from 250 to 200. The Guardsman health and damage have also gotten buffed. 50% extra health and damage on normal difficulty and 100% extra health and damage on hard difficulty. The Dreadnought time has been increased from 3 minutes to 5 minutes. Yes, because I think that's a lot of points to have a Dreadnought come in for only 3 minutes, and I'm happy they did that. I didn't hear anybody screaming for that change. I wasn't either, but I'm gonna take it every day. They streamlined the Terminus enemy spawn logic after the 16th wave. Every 3rd wave can spawn 1 to 2 Terminus enemies, and every 5th wave can spawn 2 to 3 Terminus enemies. They've also fixed a bunch of issues with enemy spawns, enemies getting stuck in their spawns, not being able to progress to the next sector, and completing waves as Assault class will now unlock Inferno pistol skins. I had no idea that was a bug, so I'm glad they fixed it. PvP, you do get some things in PvP, and it's just not as much as you... PvP is getting an extended list of weapons available. Tactical now has access to the combat knife, plasma pistol, and heavy bolt pistol. Assault has access to the power sword and plasma pistol. Sniper has access to the instigator bolt carbine, heavy bolt pistol, and marksman bolt carbine. Vanguard has access to the Marksman Bolt Carbine, Heavy Bolt Pistol, and the Bolt Carbine, and Support has access to the Heavy Bolt Pistol. Not only that, PvP progression has also been touched as well. XP recalculated, the amount of experience required to earn rewards has been reduced, making progression faster and more rewarding. New levels are being added. They've expanded the progression system. The new max level is 44, and lots of minor fixes for private lobbies, gameplay modifications. The AI. Some of the AI has also been touched. The Northward dealing too much damage with its beam attack in some rare cases. I feel like it's in every case, but that's personally just me. Lictors can be invulnerable in some rare cases. Cultist Sniper firing twice in some rare cases. I've definitely seen that one. And minor animation fixes for various enemies. So all of those have been fixed that I just read for you. And of course, there was some general fixes and tech fixes as well. So overall, while this patch did not really technically add any content, this patch does add a bunch of quality of life stuff. The insane amount of weapon buffs that just came through, the data vault being updated with siege mode on there, PvP getting some new weapons for each classes. This is all fantastic stuff, and it gets me excited for patch 10.0, which we will see new content, including a new PvP game mode, and the ability to play the Dreadnought. Thank you guys so much for watching, and once again, don't forget, there's an event going on right now, XP Boost in Siege mode from July 29th to August 5th. Make sure you get in there and get those classes to Prestige 4 if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, please go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 1,000 subs by the end of this year. It would mean the absolute world to me. Don't forget to check out the memberships below, and I will see you all next week.